I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm headed to the arcade. I don't have a lot of money, but I'm bringing everything I made. I got a callus on my finger and my shoulder's hurting too. I'm gonna eat 'em all up just as soon as they turn blue. 'Cause I got Pac-Man fever. It's driving me crazy.
Welcome back to the Project Gen X podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alan Smith, along with...
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about a very Gen X subject. One that did not start with us, but we damn sure built. And no, I'm not talking about the internet, per se.
Hating people?
No.
Sarcasm?
No. Video games.
Oh,
Yeah. Maybe we didn't build them, but we definitely made them popular. Let's put it that way. That was...
we supported the addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. We started it. I don't know what you're talking about. And we're not going to go through and do a comprehensive history of video games. There's plenty of other. I would highly suggest, if you want to see that kind of stuff, the old G4 TV, from 20 years ago, back when it was good.
Where they'd occasionally do the history of video games.
They had that a show called Icons.
Yeah.
And they're all on YouTube. You can go. I mean,
that's cool.
Full episodes, and and they go through. It's creators.
And there's that other series, the video games that made us, or something.
Yeah, I think that's on Netflix or something. Yeah. So there's plenty of that kind of stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
And I find it all pretty fascinating. But this, I think we're just going to take our own experiences with video games and talk about them, kind of.
Okay.
Because they haven't been in my life from the very beginning that I can remember, but it started real early.
Yeah.
In the when I was
I remember
4 or 5 years old.
I remember going over to a friend's house and playing Pong.
Right.
On his weird looking machine. Yeah, that was my first experience.
And that was I'm trying to remember how old. Like, I don't know. Okay, so when I was all the way up until I guess I was around first grade or so, we had one television in the house, and it was black and white.
Yeah. And
the Atari was available at that point. Atari came out, 70? Well, let's see.
Look it up.
73, 74, something like that. And the reason why I say that's 73, I think, because that Atari 50 came out, was it last year?
It wasn't even the 2600 you're talking about.
No, but it was like the
Atari
900
bus.
And all that stuff. But the 2600 was in the mid-70s somewhere, so it's probably around most, if not all, of our lives.
Yeah. My first video game system was not an Atari.
Neither was mine. So
mine was released in 78, but I didn't get mine until probably 80, 81.
Okay.
And it was the Mattel Electronics baseball handheld game.
Oh, yeah.
I took that thing with me everywhere. And then all my friends had the football game.
I had the football, yeah.
Everybody had the football. I was the only one I knew that had the baseball. And everybody kept trying to trade me the football game for the baseball game. And I was like, no.
Yeah,
this is my baseball. In fact, I found it on Amazon.
Yeah, how much are they going for these?
Like $140.
Well, a few years ago, they went and did...
I take it back. Here's one for $130.
Well, they went back and they did retro models of those, where you could pick them up and the new ones.
I bought one. The gameplay wasn't the same.
It really, yeah.
It just was not the same.
I had one of the handheld football games until a couple of years ago. I had found one that was still in the box. The box was beat up, but I was like, all right, cool. It still worked.
Nice.
I remember playing it. It was a lot of fun. But my first video game system. Well, first off, my aunt. I've talked about my cousin David on here several times. He's a few years older than me, and they had an Atari 20. It was the Sears Atari.
That's what we had.
Yeah,
we got ours in probably 80. We were in Michigan at that point, so it was probably like 80. 83.
Oh wow, about the time that it was crashing.
No, it might have been like 82.
Yeah, 83 was when the big crash happened that pretty much killed Atari.
I know the games became a lot more affordable.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we'll talk about that. So yeah, my Aunt Mary had that 2600, and that was in the 70s. You know, I mean, it might not have been when it first came out, but they'd had it for a while, and I used to love going over there and playing. That's what we would do. Go to Aunt Mary's house, and it's like, we're gonna play Atari, you know. For Christmas one year, we wound up getting, it was some kind of Pong system. Mm-hmm. It basically had 2 games on it.
Yep.
It was Pong, and then there was a light gun game. There was a light gun that was attached to it, and there was this little dot that was on the screen, and it would just kind of, it started off, it was like stay stationary, and then it would blink after a little bit. You had to hit it while it was solid, and then there was also, it would move around the screen, and you had to try to hit dot that way.
Okay.
I think we got the Atari probably around 80, 79, 80, somewhere around in there. I want to say I was out of kindergarten. I was probably in first grade when we finally got an Atari. By that point, we had gotten a color television also, and old Zenith. I remember that television, man. I remember it.
Everybody had a Zenith.
Yeah, because that was a name brand for
Zenith was the Gold Star.
And I think didn't they have some kind of deal with Sears? Like that was that's what. Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it as well.
Because you could put it on a layaway.
Right. So so we had that, and the games for the Atari that I think are. What are the games that you think of playing on the Atari 2600?
Pac-Man, Asteroids. What was the Dragon?
Adventure.
Frogger. Frogger was a big one at our house. Even Mom played Frogger. She loved Frogger. We had Circus. Joust.
That was another one.
That was the one I was thinking about. Those are kind of the big ones for me.
The 2 big games for me. Now, we had all kinds. Of course, everybody had the Pac-Man, you know.
It almost came with Pac-Man.
Well, by that point, but of course, it wasn't the same as the Pac-Man in the arcade, though, and that was the...
Well, yeah, but it was... If you bought the Sears branded 2600,
it came with one.
It came with Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And we immediately turned around and bought Asteroids. And Dad and I would sit there and play Asteroids for hours.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we figured out that if you got to a certain point, the score would top out and it would flip back over to 0. And we would sit there and just flip it and flip it and flip it. And
Asteroids was definitely in my top 10 games that for the 2600. And I had a ton.
Centipede.
Well, outside of ports, like from arcade ports, like Frogger or Pac-Man or Centipede or Defender or Joust or Moon Patrol, any of that stuff.
Oh, Mission Control. Mission Control was a huge one.
So Missile Command?
Missile Command. Missile Command, yeah.
Missile Command was a big one.
That was a huge one.
As far as just for the made-for-home systems.
Yeah.
Yar's Revenge. Loved that game.
Never really played
Still
it.
love that game. Pitfall.
Oh, I forgot about Pitfall. For some reason, my parents wouldn't get me Pitfall. We had to go over to a friend's house to play Pitfall. I was like, come on, it's Activision. I don't know that it'll work with our system.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it will. It's a cartridge.
It's 2600 right there on the side. I remember when Pitfall was released, not being able to find it. Like, it was sold out. And it's funny because
such a great game.
In the early 80s, probably 81, 82, somewhere in there, whenever it was released, I remember I actually got my copy of Pitfall in Huntsville.
Yeah. Because
we had gone to go to my aunt and uncle's house, and we took the 2600 with us.
Yeah.
And we were out went down on Friday. We came back Saturday, and I remember going out to eat and then going by trying to find Pitfall, and it was sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
And we did wind up finding a copy of it. Yeah, but it was one of those things that we wound up going like 2 or 3 places. Like, could not find it anywhere in Nashville.
Yeah.
It was just anywhere you went. Kmart didn't have it. Zayre didn't have it. Hill's Department Store didn't have it.
Service merchandise
didn't have it. Sears didn't have it. It was just out. And which is funny now because it's very rare. I mean, it's very rare to get that with a video game these days. Like, part of the reason that we're doing this is because this year.
What did you do?
This year is the first time in 9 years that there has been an NCAA football game because of licensing rights.
Yeah.
And EA released the NCAA Football 25 a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I went out and bought it. It has sucked up all of my time.
What system you got right now?
I've got a Xbox Series X.
Oh, okay.
Which I wound up having to go and buy upgrading my system because I had the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And they're not making it for that any longer. Like it was only going to be on the Xbox, the new Xbox. So I was like, well, I guess I'm selling that and going and getting. So I wound up doing that, which I wanted to do anyway because. Okay. So yeah, going out and buying a new video game wound up costing me a couple $100, actually several $100 to. Actually, a couple hundred after I'm selling off the other one.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of one of those like, okay, whatever. But in this day and time, something like that comes out, and you just go to the store and pick it up. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you can just go and download it if you're into that kind of stuff as well. You can go to the servers, the stores, whether it's Xbox or Sony, either or Microsoft or Sony.
How much are games nowadays?
That one was $70.
No,
yeah.
See, this is why I will never buy another gaming
system.
system.
Well, it's funny because what is really funny about that number, though, is that when you go look back at like the N64, when that was out, and even like the early PlayStation games, they were about that same price back then. Mm-mm. Oh, yeah, they were. Not every game was.
I've never paid over $30-$40 for a game.
But see, the thing especially with the PS1 is that when the games would first come out, when they were in the little black boxes, they were around that price, $50, $60, $70, depending on what it was.
I think
then
they would $50 for one.
Then they would put out after it had been out for a couple of years, they would put out the Classics edition or the whatever it was, and it would be like $20. Same game, but it's not new. So it was, there's a lot of that stuff. And Nintendo's done the same thing. Nintendo is still one of those things. Nintendo has never come off their prices, ever. And so it's one of those things, like if you go and buy a new Switch game, it's going to be somewhere between $40 and $60, depending on what it is.
I'm so done with video games.
Yeah. But that $70, I was like, okay, because they've gone up a little bit. They used to be about 60 was what you would pay for the new Madden or the new whatever it was. But they've gone.
And I could understand.
They've gone up a few dollars.
I could understand that for NCAA football. Right. I can understand that for Madden. I can understand that for some of the
big AAA games and stuff. I see that. I get that.
The EA Sports stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. The Need for Speed driving games. Yeah, I've paid pretty good money for because I enjoy the driving games. But I still do physical media and all that because if I ever decide I need money, I can sell that stuff. Okay.
And so going back to the Atari. Okay. Like I said, Yarsby Combat was another game. Loved Combat. Okay. Because it was several different games. You could have tank battles, you could have air battles, you could have
that was one that I wanted and couldn't get.
Yeah. And you had to there was the whole deal of okay, I can hit the person, you're in a maze, I can hit that person over here if I ricochet this off and all that. And those Berserk was one of them I absolutely loved on Atari.
That one drove me crazy.
Yeah, I know. But it was that type of stuff. And when it came to ports, probably the two best ports that I ever played on the Atari was Ms. Pac-Man because it was a lot closer to the arcade. Yeah. Well, there's three of them. That one, Defender, because it looked a lot like the arcade game, and they had a port of Mario Brothers, the first Mario Brothers.
Huh.
Now, see, that's the thing. Most people don't realize there were 4 games that were Nintendo licensed games that appeared on the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
It was Mario Brothers,
Yep.
Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr.,
Yep.
which Donkey Kong Jr. was better than that port of Donkey Kong was terrible.
Yeah.
But Donkey Kong Jr. was pretty good. And the other one was Popeye. Because most people forget that Popeye was a Nintendo game, but that was a Nintendo licensed game.
Here's the thing: is that the only place you could get Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. for the longest time was Coleco.
They had an exclusive deal with them, and then
in Michigan, the kid down the street who had the Indian dirt bike also had the ColecoVision.
No, it wasn't Parker Brothers. I forget what company it was. It was Coleco. That's no, it wasn't. Well, yeah, Coleco did Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah.
And Popeye. Actually, all three of those were. Yeah. Coleco was actually the one that put out the carts that went in the 2600.
Yeah.
And then the Mario Brothers was one of the Atari licensed, with the silver label on the front and with the Mario stuff, everything. Okay, one of them that I also left off of this that Parker Brothers reminded me, Spider-Man. I loved that game. And I don't
think I ever played it.
I loved that game. It was basically you were Spider-Man. You had to crawl up a building to stop the Green Goblin, and it was basically just you would shoot webs and you would swing, and then you'd have to shoot another web to go up further and that kind of stuff. And the whole time he's dropping pumpkin bombs.
Oh, okay.
That come down, and then when you got to the top, you just basically had to get to the top of the building without getting hit by the Green Goblin. And then you go to the next level, and it was the same thing. It was the same thing over and over.
So
That's all it was. It was just climbing up. Yeah,
Galaxa with pumpkins and goblins.
Something like that. But it was just no, because there was no. They would just the pumpkin bombs would fall randomly. It wasn't just the fact that I could play as Spider-Man was the thing that I loved about it.
I can see that.
And I know that Brody Quinn wound up with my copy of it. Was it a couple of years ago or whatever? I was giving away stuff, and that was one of the things I gave away. And I sent him a box copy of it out, as well as some other stuff. I also sent some stuff to George down in Florida, and from GXG, and just cleaning out. And I finally got rid of my Atari last year because I just really didn't play it. And I've got one of those little plug and play that's got pretty much all the games. It's got Yar's Revenge and several of that. It's got Adventure on there. Yeah. Haunted House was another one. That was a big game.
I've mine somewhere. I think it's somewhere in my house with the games that I had as a kid. But then there was a period in time where I got busted in my Camaro for careless driving. Mm-hmm. And I had to do community service hours and was doing them over at the thrift store. Mm-hmm. And they had me unboxing stuff, and there was a box of Atari 2600 games, and she had me price them at $0.25 a piece. Mm-hmm. I just ended up buying the whole box.
I know. The video game crash of 1983 pretty much ended Atari. Yeah, as a dominant role, having a dominant role in the video games. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they did not monitor what was being put out. There was a lot of bad games. E.T. comes to mind. Yeah. But there were a lot of other bad games as well that weren't licensed by anybody. And you're talking about being able to get them cheap. Yeah. That literally after that all happened, I remember going into Hill's department store, into their electronics section, and there was a bin of Atari 2600 games, and they were all like 50 cents a piece. Yep. Brand new, still in the box, still in the shrink wrap, still, whatever. They were just... And every time we would go in there, I would buy a couple of them. And I had some really bad games, but I didn't know they were bad games at the time. It was
just
like
having fun.
Yeah, exactly. They were games that we could play. So I wound up with games like Airlock and stuff like that. That was just like, okay, they're not great games. They're usually ripoffs of something else, but I enjoyed them because I was 9 years old, and it's having a good time with them. And then, okay, but before we move on to the next home system. Let's talk about arcades real quick. Or arcade games, I should say. Okay. My first real experience with an arcade game was Pac-Man. The first Pac-Man. It's in 81 when it was released, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think it was Zaire, if I'm not mistaken, that had a machine sitting at the front of the store. Yeah. And we were in there one night, and I came walking up and saw it. I was like, hey, what is this? And I went over and I watched someone else play. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this looks amazing, just like, and of course I was like, I want to play. And my dad's like, no, because it was a quarter, which in that time was a lot, and so that became kind of the, I love this, and then of course arcades became huge, and you start every convenience store you go into, every time you go into Pizza Hut, every time you go to
Pizza Hut,
then there was Showbiz Pizza,
well,
there was this, and
Pizza Hut was the big one.
Oh, I know,
because we would go into Pizza Hut and I would get $1, and I had to choose between how much I was going to put in the jukebox and how much I was going to put in the cafe, the cafe Mrs. Pac-Man. And sit there and play Mrs. Pac-Man with my slice of pizza and my Coke.
Absolutely.
And the jukebox usually got $0.25, and the Mrs. Pac-Man got 75
because I think you could
cents.
get like 3 songs for a quarter or something like that back then. Funny side, not really funny, but side note on that. I can't remember who it was that wrote a blog post or maybe did a video or something. I don't remember. It was somebody commenting. Someone in the political space. Talking about the, as he put it, the homogenization of American culture. Yeah. And the thing that he pointed out was Pizza Hut. It's like when we were kids, going to Pizza Hut was an event. Okay? Yep. You would go in, you would sit there, you and your family, you'd go in, you'd sit down, you'd order. There was there was 1, maybe 2 arcade machines depending on what they had. They had a jukebox. Yep. They had a salad bar. Yep. It was one, and they'd come out and they'd put a pitcher of Coke or whatever you were drinking down, and you get those red cups. Everyone remembers
the red cups,
and it was one of those things. It was it was like, oh, we're going to Pizza Hut. This is going to be awesome. Okay.
And not only were we going to Pizza Hut, I get my own pizza. With personal pan pizza.
Exactly.
That was the height of gourmet pizza.
Absolutely. And and Pizza Hut would put out these specialty pizzas from time to time. And people were like, oh, we got to go try that. We got to go try that. And that's how Pan Pizza through them, because originally all they had was a thin crust. When they went to Pan Pizza, it was like, oh, this is a big thing. We got to go try this.
And then they came out with the meat lovers.
Yeah, and they went through all of that stuff, and the cheesy stuffed crust.
And then you got the all you could eat buffet.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what put Pizza Inn out of business, because Pizza Inn was the buffet.
Exactly.
King. And Pizza Hut went, oh, we can do a buffet.
Yeah, we can do that. But think about what Pizza Hut is now. It's terrible pizza that's in a little walk-in place in a strip mall somewhere.
We had one in the little town I live close to now. It went out of business 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But now, if you find a Pizza Hut, you can't go in and sit down.
Nope.
No, there's nothing like that. It's all takeout or delivery. That's all it is. And
they're usually extremely rude, and the pizza has
terrible,
dumped out in quality.
Horrible.
So, I never thought I'd say this. I'd much rather order a Domino's pizza over a Pizza Hut pizza at this point.
I will not order either of them. So, anyways, that was a little sidebar, but it ties back to the video because there were video games. That was, again, the one that was up here. There used to be one right very close to where I live now. That's now a Mexican restaurant. It's funny, like all of the old Pizza Huts around here are now Mexican restaurants. So, which okay, cool, but we would go because it wasn't far from the house. We would go in there, and again, they had a stand-up Pac-Man, and they had one of the what are they called? They're not called cafe. They're called
the cafe table.
They're not called cafe. They're called anyways, one of the sit down. What you're talking about. They're not called cafe. They're called. It starts with a C, but it's something. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure people are yelling at me.
Tell us on Discord.
But they had a Galaxian.
Yeah.
One of those. So it was, hey, you want to play Galaxian? You want to play Pac-Man? Which one? And every once in a while they would rotate one in or out or whatever. But that was that was the way it was. I mean, everybody, 7-Eleven had 2 or 3 machines. Yeah. Hill's Department Store had several machines in there. I remember playing Cubert there a lot.
Oh, I forgot about Cubert. Yeah. I had Cubert on the 2600.
It was funny because you had to like turn it.
Yeah, instead of holding it you normally weigh, you would hold it as a diamond.
As a diamond with a button at the top, and that's how you could do the axis of going diagonally.
Right.
Yeah.
When we moved to Illinois, the little Mexican joint that we went to all the time had a Dig Dug machine.
Dig Dug was
I spent a lot of time playing Dig Dug.
Right. So that was the whole thing that in the early 80s we had this explosion of video of arcades. And again, I have that Ms. Pac-Man that Arcade 1-Up put out.
Right.
I love because it's got 9 games on it or something,
Including Dig Dug.
including Dig Dug,
Which is the one I play every time.
Galaxian and Galaga,
Yeah.
and Rolling Thunder, which was another game that I really loved. And I forget what all was. I think Mappy's on there and a few others. It was basically one of those things. When I saw that, I was like, I'm buying that because it has all the game. It has more games that I love than ones that I don't really care about, because that's usually what happens with those things where there's 2 or 3 games you really love and the rest of them are like, eh. And then
while we were still living in Michigan, the ski resort over from the house had Dragon's Lair, which everybody wanted to play
Dragon, but nobody knew how to play it.
But everybody was so angry about it because it was 50 cents.
Right.
And you would lose all 3 lives in just like that.
I know.
Because there was no instructions on how to play it.
None. And then, of course, we know now it was Laserdisc. It literally was a movie that you were playing.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know what to do, it was over very, very quickly. So back home. So, arcades again. There's just some. Again, I got Pac-Man tattoos, and stuff because I love Pac-Man. When the first time that I saw a commercial for the Nintendo, I was like, I have to have one of these things.
Yeah.
For the Nintendo Entertainment System. And
I never got one.
Oh, dude.
You know why I never got one? My dad's like, you've got an Atari 2600.
I know.
You don't need one.
It's like, we have Nintendo at home.
Yeah. Yeah, we have we've got Atari.
You got an Atari. You don't ever need another video game system ever.
It's like you don't play the Atari that we got now. Why would I buy you a Nintendo?
Believe me. And I wound up buying the first Nintendo that I owned. I bought with my own money. Like I saved up. I had gotten some money for my birthday. Yeah. And I held on to that, and I had done some other stuff, chores and gone to work with Dad, and that kind of stuff. Because I was like, I think I was about 12, maybe 13 when I got it. It hit the U.S. in 86. It was the next year, so I would have been about 13 years old, I guess. And so it was one of those, like, I had the money, and I wound up going and buying that and a bunch of games because I had enough money for all that. The games were like $25, $30 or something like that. And so I wound up with a bunch of games. And I remember that first day. I got it on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. And I played for a few hours before I went to bed. And then Saturday morning, I woke up early. Mm-hmm. Didn't set an alarm. I just woke up early because I was excited.
Yep. And
so I got up and started playing Super Mario Brothers. And I went through a whole bunch. Like I said, I had that. I had Hogan's Alley. I had Gumshoe. I had I'm trying to think what else I had. I know I had pro wrestling. I had a bunch of the black box games.
Yeah.
I think I had I had 5 or 6 games. I can't remember. It was one Dig Duck or not Duck Hunt, obviously, because it came with Duck. It came with I had the not the deluxe set, but I had the action set.
Yeah.
And it came with Duck Hunt and Mario. Mm-hmm. So I had both those games, and then I bought.
Do you have like one controller in the gun? Do you have 2 controllers in the gun?
It came with 2 controllers in the gun. I think that was one of the last systems that came with 2 controllers, or maybe the Sega was the Sega Genesis and the SNES both came with 2 controllers. But then after that was when they started making you buy the second controller, and that really sucked.
NES wise.
No, pretty much that was a standard.
My original Sony PlayStation came with 2 controllers.
It came with 2 controllers. Okay, I didn't have a. I had a PlayStation. We'll get to that later, but so yeah, I had all this, and so like I said, I sat down and started playing, and I'm playing and playing and playing and playing and having a good time. And my dad comes walking into my room, what seems like a couple hours later. And he's like, "Turn it off now." What are you talking about? And he's like, "Turn it off." I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, "Do you know what time it is?" I'm like, "It's like what, noon?" He's like, "It's 6:30 in the afternoon."
Wow.
I had been sitting there probably about 9 hours playing, never moved. The only thing I ever got to do, we got to go to the bathroom. That was about it. So he was like, "Turn it off now. Just no, you're done." This is, and so yeah, it was just like, oh, okay. I still love those old NES. I've got one sitting right there with a whole bunch of boxed games.
The only time I ever got to play it was if we went over to a friend's house. It was the same with the Sega Genesis. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to play it, it was over at a friend's house.
Yeah.
I did not, from the Atari 2600, I did not own another gaming console until my original Xbox.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I got the Nintendo, and then I got the Game Boy when it came out.
I take it back. My Sony PlayStation. I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot Sony PlayStation.
Well, that's still over a decade later. The Game Boy. I love the Game Boy.
Never had one.
Still love the Game Boy. Tetris on the Game Boy is one of the best games ever. And that was a lot of fun. I was an older teenager by that point. I guess I was about 15, I guess. So I was a middle-aged teenager at that point. And when the Sega Genesis came out, I was kind of like, hey, okay, whatever. Because I had gotten the Super Nintendo also. And I'll be honest, I never connected with that system the way I did with the NES. The SNES was kind of, I was excited because there was a new Mario game. That was the whole, Super Mario World. And I remember playing it. I'll be honest, to this day, that's the only time I've ever played through Super Mario World was when I got it initially in like 1990 or whatever it was, 91. I think it was 91 maybe. And it was a couple of years later that the girl I was dating at the time, her little brother got a Sega Genesis for his birthday. And, I was in college, and I went over, and I wound up playing Sonic the Hedgehog with him, like, all day long. Just all afternoon. Just like, yeah. At that point, I was like, I have to have a Genesis.
Yeah.
And I wound up taking my Nintendo and all my games, which I had a ton of games, and selling all of them, and then going and buying a Sega Genesis. And I wish I had not done that.
I will say this. I have never sold any of my gaming systems. So all of them that I have, I still have.
I don't have any... Yeah, I don't have anything original that was my original gaming system. I've bought and sold so many times over the years for various reasons. So by the time that the PlayStation came around, I was kind of out of games. Like, I really loved those first three Sonic games. Of course, Mortal Kombat was the game to have on Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah,
I remember playing Mortal Kombat in the arcades quite a bit. It was kind of that. Are you a Street Fighter guy? Or are you a Mortal Kombat guy? Well, I was a Mortal Kombat.
I started out Street Fighter, and then I discovered Mortal Kombat. And Scorpion.
Yeah,
get over here.
Right, and so but it was just.
Yeah,
that's what everything kind of went to, and there's a few other games. Like, I love Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That's of course I got that whenever Limited Run Games did that a couple of years ago. I was like, no, I got to have this because I loved this game back in the day. But I really kind of got out. I kind of fell off with it. It was one of those things. I kept playing the same games over and over. Like I had like I'll tell you the other game on the Sega Genesis, which again it was really popular on the SNES, was NBA Jam. Yeah. I played a crap ton of NBA Jam. I played a crap ton of the first three Mortal Kombat games, and a crap ton of those first three Sonic games. Yeah, and that really was kind of it for the Sega Genesis. That's all I needed. That was like, I think I had 6, 7. I think about 8 games there that I just played or 9 games I just played over and over and over and over and over and over again. And there are some other games. Altered Beast is. I liked it better in the arcade, but then once you finally got it home and started playing it, you realized it really wasn't that good of a game, and it really would make you angry, and and there was some stuff like that, but it was just like, So by the time the PS1 rolled around, I was like, I was in college, and I had other things on my mind.
See,
at that point,
I did the original PlayStation, and the two that I remember playing the most was Aliens and Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah,
Pro Skater.
Yeah, I did. Tony Hawk was when I got my Xbox, was when I got into Tony Hawk. But the next two, like the PS1 came out, I was like, I'm not really interested in it. When the N64 was released, I remember a guy that I knew had one. Again, this is when we were in college, and I remember going over and watching, he was playing Mario 64. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't like this. I don't like this 3D whatever. It made my head hurt and all that kind of stuff. And I know there were people who absolutely love GoldenEye and several other games on that, but I just never got into it. Now, I know when Corey moved in with me back in 2000, he had a PS or an N64. Yeah. And I tried playing some stuff with him. I was just like, I'm not into this. There was a Star Wars game that I played a little bit, but I was still kind of like, it's all right. I mean, all of the, I don't know. I guess it was just that those early pixels, it just didn't do it for me. Now, I did wind up with a PS1 through some nefarious means.
The original PlayStation.
Yeah, the original play. I wound up with one, and I played a lot of whatever the NHL game was that was out at that time. This would have been like '99 or what. It's like it was like first year the Predators were in the
I
the
bought
NHL.
it because of that,
right?
And I didn't really like the gameplay on it, so I immediately went and turned it into another game.
Oh yeah, I played a lot of that. I played a lot of NFL Blitz.
I can see that.
And then I played a little bit. There was that Star Wars fighting game.
It was basically Street Fighter.
Yeah, but with Star Wars characters,
skins.
and
It wasn't that
the
crazy.
coolest thing about that game was what was going on in the background.
Yeah.
Because you'd be fighting on a pedestal, like on a platform, and there'd be AT-ATs walking around or whatever. I was like, no, that's kind of cool. You'd see like Imperial like TIE fighters and stuff flying through the background, or shuttles landing and all this kind of stuff. I was like, no, I like that more than the games. And I played some like Nightmare Creatures was one of them I played. I'll tell you,
that Aliens game had some of the creepiest background sounds and music that I ended up recording the audio using the RCA jacks and using it for Halloween music.
Well, you didn't have to do that. You know those old PS1 games, you could throw them in a CD player and the soundtrack was on there.
Yeah, I know, but I was trying to get them into a format I could use and edit.
Bring it off of a CD rather than, anyway. Yeah. But that and, of course, Twisted Metal 3 was
Twisted
huge
Metal,
game.
the Twisted Metal games. I was always a Sweet Tooth guy.
Yes, Twisted Metal 3 was, especially Twisted Metal 3 was the big one. And what was the other game?
Was Tekken?
No, that was when you get into... Well, yeah, Tekken was on that.
Tekken was on that.
Tekken came out there, but it got really big on PS2, though. That was
Tekken 2 and Tekken 3.
Right.
But I started out Tekken on mine. I think I've still got my Tekken.
Yeah.
I'll have to look and see.
But that was always kind of I had that system for a few years, and it wound up sitting for a long time, and I didn't really play a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those things where Brody... because after he and I were living together, after Corey had moved out, and we wound up playing a lot of the stuff on there. And then eventually I wound up getting an Xbox. That was after the PS2 and the Xbox came out. And
I had my Xbox given to me by a bunch of friends when I graduated from Volunteer State. They all chipped in together and got me an Xbox.
So, the Xbox was kind of my big foray back into video games. There was a good 5-6 years of not really playing a whole lot. And I look back on that Xbox. I have spent so much time in front of the television with that thing.
Oh, let's see here.
That was the first time since...
Madden.
Yeah.
Halo,
Madden,
Halo 2.
Yeah. KOTOR.
All of the Fables.
Yeah, Fable.
Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Need for Speed Underground.
Yes.
Need
Of
for
course,
Speed
NCAA
Underground 2.
football was a big one for me.
I didn't do that one.
Jet Set Moto was one.
Yeah.
Now I had some other like Tony Hawk 2 and Underground. 2, 3, and Underground.
I never went back to Tony Hawk on the Xbox.
And then I had another game. It was like BMX XXX or something. It was basically a Dave Mirra game.
Oh, I had that game, but I hated it.
They had reskinned. Oh, it was terrible.
I hated it.
But it was one of those things you're always
this is a Tony Hawk ripoff.
I know. Well, it was a Dave Mirra game, is what it was, and they had reskinned it after their contract was up.
Yeah.
So they just reskinned it completely, and they put girls in bikinis on it and all this kind of stuff, and you could actually unlock video from a strip club with nudity and stuff in it. I mean, it was one of those things, and you could drive around, or you could ride around topless and all this kind of stuff. It was completely a gimmick. The gameplay was terrible.
Yeah.
It had some cool music though, like the music that played in it was kind of cool. But I had that game, and that game irritated me to no ends because it was so clunky. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that I had in there. Of course, like I said, KOTOR, the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one I really loved off of that one was Ultimate Spider-Man. I
never played.
Loved that game. I still love that game. And then
a reason that I don't remember a lot of the games I played on Xbox is I would just go to the video store, rent them, play them over a weekend. I'd usually end up beating them over a weekend and then taking them back.
Well, there were games like The Punisher.
Yeah.
Which was violent, crazy. You had Manhunt that was the same way. I think Fatal Frame was on that also. They had they really started, and of course, the big one was Vice City. GTA Vice City. Oh my God, I played so much.
Do you remember Black?
Yes, I do remember that. Yep.
where all of the firearm sounds were authentic because
Yep.
they'd gone out and actually audio engineered and recorded the weapon sounds.
Well, Red Dead Redemption actually got its start on the Xbox.
Yeah.
It was called Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah.
And it was an on rails game, and it was kind of hard to play. Quite honestly, I didn't really care for it a lot, but it was funny.
They
a few
fixed a
years
lot
later.
of the issues with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, and they also opened. Of course, it was Rockstar, so they opened it up into their GTA, open world
Sandbox.
Yeah, you can go anywhere you want to, but yeah, that was a huge thing when Vice City came out. Of the sandbox, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. Mostly, there were limits.
It was just a bigger sandbox.
Absolutely, and
it was a sandbox within a sandbox.
Yeah, but it was also because GTA 3 had opened that up a little bit, but not to that extent. It had been pretty much top down for a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and that kind of those games that we just mentioned, like all that stuff, pretty much ate up all my time for quite a while. More than it should have. Let's put it that way. And that was also during my when I was drinking a lot, and so there was a lot of like staying up all night drinking and playing video games, which was I don't ever recommend that for anybody, especially at the age I was. And it was
all you needed was a basement at your parents' house.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I had a wife at the time, so it was. And I had like a room that I stayed in all the time, but that's a whole other story. But it was, that going through all of that, and then of course we get to the PS2 and the Xbox 360. Played a lot of Gears of War. Of War and Madden and NCAA. Of course, I always stay with. Oh, I'll tell you the one that we forgot. It was a big, and it's funny because it's celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. But it also changed gaming in a lot of ways. And that was ESPN 2K5 NFL football.
Yeah.
Because Madden was putting out their games, and they were like $50, $60, however much they were. That 2K5 that year came out, that was in 04, came out, and it was $20.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it was better than Madden. And they put all this extra stuff into it. And it sold like crazy. People were like, oh, this is so great. And Madden, or EA, went and signed an exclusive deal with the NFL licensing deal to where no other games, because they were like, we're getting ready to get our lunch eaten here is what's going to happen. And so they signed, and that changed everything after that. And then they stole a bunch of the stuff that was on those, and like took it from like, oh, they like this, so we're going to bring this over into it, and this and that.
No,
and
they
blah,
totally
blah.
Bill Gates'd it.
Yeah. And then they pretty much stopped innovating for the next decade and a half.
Well, that's what happens when you have a monopoly. You no longer have to innovate.
Exactly.
Looking at you, Apple.
Yeah. And that was another one of those games that I just played over and over and over and over and over again. And but yeah, once you get onto the 360, you got Gears of War. Of course, you
never had one.
Yeah. Those Gears of War, BioShock, and
the only other gaming system that I've owned is my wife got me a Wii for Christmas, and I tried playing some of the other games. I just didn't like the controller.
The biggest thing, that was my biggest problem with the Wii. I liked the Wii initially, but it was, this bowling thing is a lot of fun, or this baseball, or this whatever. It's like, but then once you have to do those same things on every game, it's like, no, I do not like this. That's why I'm glad the motion control thing went away. And get on in the rest of it, whatever. But that was kind of from the Atari to that Xbox first, 360, or kind of, that covers, 25 years?
Yeah.
Or so?
So I got to ask this. As somebody who used to enjoy video games.
Okay.
Used to enjoy playing them, got tired of the bullcrap.
Right.
And quit dealing with it. If someone decided they wanted to get back into it, PlayStation or Xbox?
That's like asking Yankees or Red Sox, or Ford or Chevy, or...
Well, yeah, you hate them both.
Yeah,
you got to pick the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, but people, what's your brand when you're drinking beer? I mean, it's like everybody has their own choice. It's kind of one of those... For me, I mean, I have had both.
Yeah. That's the reason I'm asking. Because that's basically all that's left.
Ultimately, yeah, really. Well,
it's
Nintendo is still around, and again, I love my Switch.
It's just,
so, I mean,
it's just the Switch though.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the Switch now, and that's it. And that's, the Switch is either handheld or it can be on your television.
I don't like the controllers.
Oh, you can get regular controllers for it.
I don't like their regular controllers.
It's not any different than the rest of them. The only difference between the Nintendo controllers and like your Xbox or PS5 or whatever is that the A button and the A and the B button are switched. That's the only difference.
I would disagree with that. Having played all three of them, I actually prefer the Xbox controllers over the other.
I always did prefer the Xbox controllers over all the rest of them. I mean, even back to the Xbox even with the big one that they had originally, I've always liked those controllers. I thought
those are actually my favorites.
They were a little more
are the big clunkies.
Yeah, they were a little more.
But I've got big hands, so
right. I never liked the PS1 controller, and I really hated the N64 controller.
Yeah.
I hated that thing with a passion.
It held up to nothing to the six. What was the one that had like the three handles on it? It was at the
That's
64?
the N64. Yeah, that had the little the analog stick in the middle, and all that. Yeah,
that thing was a piece of junk.
I hated that thing, and people swear by it. I don't. Okay, whatever. And matter of fact, they even make like those controllers for.
Oh well, aren't they special?
Yeah, I know it's. I have an Xbox now. Previously, I had a PlayStation. I had a PS3 and a PS4. I've owned. It's funny because I've owned a PS1, 2, 3, and 4. I probably will not get a 5 because I've never liked Sony. I've always had a problem with Sony.
Okay.
Biggest reason I wound up with the PS3 and even the PS4 is because there were some exclusive games at the time that I wanted to play. I don't really care about that so much anymore. And then the thing that brought me back to the Xbox was the fact that they did announce a new Fable game. And I will take Fable over anything exclusive that Sony has any day of the week.
Because Fable is such a great series.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they don't screw this one up because it's been kind of sketchy.
When you get the new Fable,
I know you want to play it.
I want to play it.
Okay, that's fine.
That may determine whether or not I get back into the console game.
The only problem is, it's not the same company making it because they went out of business. They were I think they were bought up by Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, and then they killed the franchise, and now they have outsourced it to someone else. Oh, no. I know.
Never mind. I don't want to play.
So we'll see. We'll see. I am being hopefully optimistic about it. Is basically what it comes down to. Just like we'll see. Or optimistically hopeful. I guess that's the way it should be. But yeah, I'm on Xbox now. They I don't care anything about all the exclusives or this is this. It's like, look, you know what I like? I like what works for me is what I like. Yeah. That's what ultimately comes down to. Now I'll tell you, the system I play the most is the Switch. The game, games that I have on there. And that's the whole thing is just recently, and I talked about it some with Ariel, and I think I even mentioned on here that I started replaying Skyrim. Yeah. About a month ago, and I have put in way too many hours on that game. So I had this big game like that I started playing, and then I got the new football game, and I've put in a stupid amount of hours on that in the last week. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me that and then of course the new Madden just dropped, and I'm like, I don't ever buy the new Madden until the regular season starts because they will go in and do the patch for the active roster, so you get the actual active rosters for all the teams along with everything else that goes with it. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that's what I want. I want that but I don't want to have to go through.
So you've got your new Xbox. Yep. You got it hooked up. Mm-hmm. What games do you have for it so far?
NCAA football.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I have right now.
What we may have to do is
go in here and play.
is take a break, go in there and play it for a little bit, and just let me see what the game plays like.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, just video games. And, we didn't even get into like phone games or anything like that. That's
Phone games to me are a waste of time.
They are video games, but they're their own type of video games.
They're a time killer.
Yes, they are. That's all they are.
Time
They're
killer.
a time waster, is what they are.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have fallen into some especially some of the runner games and stuff. There used to be, and they stopped. Mm-hmm.
I've got one called Bowmasters,
Okay.
which is literally you're taking turns throwing sharp objects at each other. Pokemon Go, because
See, I never got into.
because my wife's got a bunch of cousins that play, and it's a good way for me to interact with them. I've got one that's called Weapon Master, and it's just literally you're basically running through and like shooting stuff, and you get to build points to like shoot stuff.
Right.
Hill Climb 2, which is a racing game. Gardenscapes, which is like a
Believe me,
jewel type game.
there was a game. And they have not made a new one, and the old one's not available any longer. It was called Zombie Farm.
I've seen that one.
There was Zombie Farm and Zombie Farm 2. I don't think I ever played the first one. It was the second one that I played, and I had so much fun on playing that game.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like what happens with a lot of these mobile games where they just stop support on it one day.
Yeah.
And it goes away. My son had that happen on a game. It was some dragon game that he loved, and they stopped support on it, and it doesn't work any longer.
Now, I will say this. I do have World Series of Poker on my phone, so I'll play that occasionally. The one that I tend to go to the most is called Chrome Valley Restorers, which is one of those jewel match exploder games. But you do that in order to build up coins, and you use those coins to actually go, and they give you like an old car, and you like start swapping out parts and like restoring a car.
Well, that's cool.
And I'm more into I have to play the jewel popper part of it to get the coins,
to the part that you want to be.
Get to the part that I want to play.
Yeah, I get that.
But they're just total. Yeah, Royal Match, Bubble Pop, Bricks and Balls, one called Tower Wars.
There are all kinds of those games that I know.
Attack Hole. It's just they're just stupid little games.
Oh, I know, and they're all wastes of time.
Yeah,
every single it's one of those things. All of a sudden you look at and like, have I really been doing this for an hour?
Yeah,
like what's going on here? And I've gotten to where like I periodically
there was one I did get addicted to, and it was that Viking War of Clans or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I got so into it that I got clanned up with a bunch of folks.
Yeah.
And we ended up starting it wasn't a WhatsApp. It was what was the name of the app? I forget the name of the app. But we ended up starting a chat.
Yeah.
To where we could all communicate in the chat while we were playing and keep up with everybody and help everybody.
Right.
And we ended up all becoming friends. Now I've lost touch with some of them. But I need to send a Christmas present to Greedy Dragon and Thunder Chicken this year, I think. So. Yeah,
I know. And that's, I never got into anything like World of Warcraft or
I played World of Warcraft.
What was the other one? EverQuest. Yeah. The ones that people were just would lose years of their lives into.
I had a regular Tuesday night Star Wars D20 game, and the group of people that I played with, we ended up kind of scattered, and I joined World of Warcraft so I could try to find them on World of Warcraft and still kind of game with them, and I never did, but I enjoyed playing World of Warcraft. It was fun.
My mom loved video games all the way back to the Atari. And she was one of those things that she was a stay-at-home mom, and she told me years later that it was one of those things that she had to start watching it after a while because she would go and drop me off at school and come back home and start working, doing stuff around the house, and she'd sit down and start playing Atari and look up and have to go pick me up from school. But she was always like that. She loved the Nintendo and the Sega especially.
Mom loved Frogger. She just wanted to play Frogger.
Yep. My mom loved all the Mario games, all the Sonic games, all that stuff. And like I said, I've said on here before when I talked about my mom was that my love of movies and even video games came from her. I mean, that was Mom had, it was one of those things. She had a DS that she played for all the way up forever, and she used to always play all kinds of games on her tablet and, this kind of, she loved that stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess my mom was like a OG gamer. It's just like
no, absolutely. And I remember the hours I spent with Dad playing the Atari 2600, especially Asteroids and Missile Command.
See,
those were
Dad,
and Pac-Man. Those were our 3 games.
Yeah. See, my dad never played any of them. He always said, "That's a waste of time. That's stupid. It's whatever." And so he's never, but Mom was the one that, man, she'd get down on the floor with me and we'd play.
I think Dad saw it for the hand-eye coordination builder that it was.
Well, it's funny. I have said many times, anytime that we start organizing something over the years, and then done. People are like, how are you so good at this? Tetris.
Yeah.
Years of playing Tetris. I'm telling you right now, that was one of the best problem-solving games I have ever played in my life. And
it's hand-eye coordination, it's spatial recognition, it's problem solving,
and it's fast thinking.
Yeah.
Of, hey, I've got to get this in. What is the most efficient way or place for this to go?
Yep.
And it's just, I agree. Tetris is. It's one of those games where I'm like, dude, play. I've told my son every once in a while he'll pick up, what's Tetris? I'm like, no, you need to play this. You need to play this a lot. You need to play this a lot. But that's, and again, eye coordination.
First person shooters. I loved first person shooters.
Again,
it's probably one of the things. It's probably one of the things that's helped me more with my targeting at the gun range than anything.
That, I've played some Halo and Gears of War, but I never really got into like the Call of Duty or
that original Call of Duty.
Yeah, what was the
PlayStation?
Medal of Honor.
Yeah,
I never got into any of that stuff.
That original World War I Call of Duty. Where you're dealing with the OSS and all that. I love that game. Yeah. And then Call of Duty got so fast paced in the later editions that I could not keep up.
And I never did any online gaming. Yeah. Like with that stuff because even like with playing Madden and that stuff, I've never gone online to play because I take that back. I tried once. Yeah. And found out very quickly that I was out of my depth. I mean, completely out of my depth. And I was like, this is not fun. This is,
those guys.
Yeah. I mean, dude, some of those guys are legit professional. Yeah. And just like, no.
Plus, nobody likes getting teabagged by a 12-year-old.
I know. And then they want to talk shit on top of it all. And it's just like, no, I'm good with never doing any of this stuff. So
it's like, shut your mouth or I'll come to your house and date your mom.
That's one way. It's one way of doing it. So, but video games, like I said, been a part of my life for pretty much as long as I can remember.
Both of us,
And, I've ebbed and flowed with them. I've had big spaces of not doing anything, and I've had spaces where I've done way too much. And it's just
now I have other toys.
Yeah. And I've said this before, and it's still true in a lot of ways. I like the idea of video games more than I actually like video games. But every once in a while, I will find one that I'm like, no, I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna stick with it.
Every once in a while, I will still break out Tiger Woods golf and sit in my living room and play golf.
I wish that they would do some kind of Tiger Woods golf-esque. I know they have something now, but it just doesn't. I haven't liked it as much as I like those Tiger Woods.
You know what I want? I want a John Daly golf game. That's what
you smoke and drink and you go to Hooters and it's like
I want him to team up with Xbox and create a video game, John Daly Golf.
Yeah, it'd be like John Daly's full contact golf or something like that.
Yeah,
just like
tell me that would not be.
Oh, I know. Believe me. And that's like you were talking about like on the Xbox, talking about like the jiggle physics. Dead or Alive, and all those games. Now, when they did the Dead or Alive beach volleyball and that stuff, and it's like, really and truly, this is softcore porn for people, is what this is. It's like,
now, if somehow this gets to John Daly, please, would you team up with Xbox and like Bethesda or EA Sports or somebody?
Probably EA you have to go with.
And create a John Daly golf game. Yeah. Because, and make it very similar to the Tiger Woods, but give us all the extra stuff.
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I like being able to go in and create my own character and, develop and all that. And, but I want the John Daly aspect of it. Like Kid Rock sitting on the sidelines playing the guitar, just singing random crap.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It'll work for me. So
the big bright
color. Oh, maybe they can team up with, what's those guys? Is it Country Club adjacent that do
yeah.
the back off challenge?
Yes.
Have those guys in there.
You're up there at the tee, trying to tee off, and you've got the hecklers in the background
I
from
know.
Country Club.
Well, that's,
adjacent.
again, it's really funny. Like when John Daly got up there and he just kept giving it back to him.
He is unflappable. And the fact that his son is now driving further than him.
Oh, really?
Oh, have you not seen videos of his son?
I don't follow golf much,
dude.
So.
His kid's a monster too.
Okay, well, cool, good for him. That's speaking of kids. This is a little off topic.
Oh, here we go.
But have you heard? Do you know Jackson Knowles?
Jackson Knowles.
Is it Jackson Knowles? Is that his name? I think it's Jackson. Hold up.
I don't know.
It's Bradley Knowles' son.
Who?
Bradley Knowles from Sublime, the lead singer that died.
Oh.
It's his son.
Oh, okay.
And he actually has teamed up with the other guys in Sublime and is like fronting the band some.
Really?
But he has a hold on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure that's his name, because he has another band. It's
so he's kind of taking over his dad's role in the band.
Yeah, and
is it like a permanent thing or is it just like one-offs?
I don't know. Jacob Knowles. I'm sorry, it's not Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob Knowles, because he's got another band. It's called Jacob's Castle or something like that. Like that was his original band, but then, of course, he knew the guys in Sublime. It's growing up. They were still around and stuff. And then it was proposed like, hey, you want to come on, go out with us? And they started. And matter of fact, they had a new song.
Really?
Yeah, that was just out a few months ago or something. So yeah, and I'm like, all right, that might be interesting.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he's like 29 or 30 or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I kind of like that. If you're going to replace the lead singer of a band, their son's fine. I'm fine with that. That's I have no issue there. So keep it in the family. And so. But yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm kind of surprised the Foo didn't do that with.
I wouldn't put Taylor's kid in there. Yeah.
Because from the benefit concerts, it's obvious he's up to the challenge.
And, well, he might not be ready to. He might not be ready for it yet.
It might have been too much emotionally.
It could be. I mean, that's who knows. So anyway, just that's. I just thought I forgot I was going to mention that in the last episode.
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, check out that. So all right, go to Discord, go to our social medias. Tell us about your favorite video games, arcade, computer. I know we didn't really get
video
game
games. Memories.
Video game memories.
We did a little bit with Warcraft.
A little bit, but I never really played a lot of computer games.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff.
More of a console game.
Yeah, I didn't do I didn't do Doom or any of that or Diablo.
I did Doom.
Any of that stuff.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah, see, all that stuff was a little.
See, I remember doing death matches in Doom, and of course they were across like either the 28.8 modem.
Oh yeah,
32,
yeah.
And you almost had to become a prophet with the death matches because you had to be a prophet of where you were going to shoot and hope that your opponent was there after the lag cleaned up, and the gameplay started again.
Yeah, I get that.
Wolfenstein 3D was fun.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get off on another tangent here, go and check out all our social media. Tell us about your memories of playing video games, because we know you have them. And we'll be back next week with another walk down memory lane you're probably not going to expect. So for the Project Gen X podcast, I am Alan Smith.
What are you going to do to me?
We've already talked about it.
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
I got